Welcome to video 3. In the previous videos, we set up a test account. We then created feeds. From that, we created a partner feed. We run some rules. We did some bidding. We did some setup of campaigns. We did pretty much the basics of what you required to get going with Google Shopping, really. What I want to cover now is basically the other side of that now. Once we've actually got some data, once we're live, and once we've got something to actually optimize against. A lot of our competitors offer just a very basic feed management platform. But I think the most value that we can bring to any customer really is the level of reporting and analytics we provide. So let's take a rundown of all the elements we're going to cover now. I'm going to talk about the home screen reporting, which you can see here. Talk about some of the merchant center issues that we pulled through from the API. We're going to look at the click path reporting. We're going to look at some basket level data. We're going to look at some brand new reports we've generated recently, which is covering all the basket level data, all the category brand reporting, stock reporting, or a whole bunch of Pmax and product reports, some campaign overviews, a bit more ngram reporting, which a lot of people love. And the final part is our threats and opportunities report, which is all AI driven. So that's really quite a cool piece of new tech we've added to this software. As you can see here, this is our home screen. So when you log in and you have some data, this will give you a bit of a rundown of where you are. So just before we go any further, the reports we provide here are done on the day of the sale, not the day of the click. So the biggest annoyance I find with Google, particularly on AdWords, is that predominantly their default reporting is reporting on day of the click. So you can click 3 days before a conversion happens, you see the conversion in your back-end system, and then you go to ads and that sales missing is actually being attributed to 3 days previously. So when you're going through the data at Google, and particularly in Google Ads, your data is never right. You've got to wait 30 days to get the full picture. I can't stand that. So all our reporting and everything we offer is time of day and day of sale as the primary reporting function. So just like analytics reports or your own back-end system, wherever you've got, it's like, I care about when that sale happened, not when the click was. That's irrelevant to me to a certain extent. On the home screen here, as you can see, starting at the top left, we've got a little bit of a task list up here. So this will give you things like, if you've got some categories mapping or some data's got a problem. So there's 500 products in Merchant Center that we need to look at in a minute. So we're going to have a look at that in a second. So the partner performance covers all the different channels we're advertising on. So because we're live on Bing, we've got all our Pmax and shopping. We've got our own shopping website down here, and then you've got any search campaigns, any organic sales that come from Google as well. And up here we've got number of clicks, the usual stuff basically is reporting performance. We've got a little comparison as well versus the previous period. So obviously we're 23 days into January, so this is comparing to the previous 23 days. So as you can see, we're quite healthily up on last month. Going further down, we've got our cost of sale and also our revenue reports. As you can see, lots of nice big skyscrapers in here. This part here is pulling through the partner performance by overall revenue. So Bing contributes 10% or 9%. Google Ads contributes 48% or nearly 49%, and organic stroke untracked revenue is 42%. That's quite common really. So Google and Bing, contributing to kind of between 50 and 60% is pretty common. So that's fairly normal, that one. This just gives you a graph of obviously the last 12 months. As you can see, a nice big skyscraper in July. We made a really good month. As you can see, this line graph here is the cost of sales. So that's progressively been getting lower and lower over the last few months. So this report here gives us the profit every month at a product level, which we aggregate up to give us a monthly report. So this data here is quite critical for a lot of customers to be able to understand the profitability of how they're performing. The main ingredient with this is that we understand that what the margin is by product, because we get the cost price in the feed, and then we deduct any advertising costs and any shipping costs off of that though. So it just gives us a raw semi-net profit level. Obviously that doesn't incorporate any additional costs, but purely it's just an ads channel profitability report. And we've got top selling products up here, top items here with no sales. So this here is our campaigns. This is our top brands. The Pmax breakdown is where we use our own data to aggregate whether we're understanding whether the click has come from shopping, display, search, video, or something else. We'll cover this in a minute on another graph, but this is just summarized on this page here. Gives a bit of a breakdown of how the change has been. And then the bottom, just down here underneath myself, is our feed information. So when last imported, how many products we've got, what the active products are. This is our partner feeds we're exporting. That's when we last ran them. And then the bottom bit down here, which we'll cover in just a second, is our issues from Google, from the Merchant Center. And then very bottom of the page here, we all enables, this is all green here, so we've got our fingerprint tracking, we've got our cookie tracking, the basket level data is all accurate, and we have had sales in the last 12 hours. That's all green and ticked, so that's fantastic. Let's look at the issues we've got in Google. Down here, just gives you a bit of a rundown of everything. So the other point of this is just, this is it here. We have 727 items are affected. So the main critical part of this is the GTIN. So I was looking at this earlier on, and I've got a fix for this. So the client is giving us GTINs in the feed that aren't actually valid. So let's actually do something about that then. So this is our master feed set up. As you can see, it's all been mapped up. We've got some population formulas in here. We're going to add a population formula in here for our EAN. So let's find our EAN column. Where's he gone? There he is there. So they give us GTIN. So we're going to put in here a population formula. And this is saying, or rather evaluating whether GTIN is valid or not. And if it is valid, if it's a 1, then you use the GTIN, else set the GTIN to empty. So that now is going to basically strip out any GTINs that are invalid. So this will fix the issues in here. There's a whole bunch of other things in here. So let's just change our number of products. So you've got some invalid pricing in here. I'm not quite sure what they are, so I'm going to have to look through them. So there's some image issues. There's some various random little issues in here that are fairly insignificant. The only ones I'm really most interested in is the disapproved products here. Sometimes the landing page itself is unavailable because potentially the product is now out of stock, and we've only just ran the feed again recently, so imagine these will probably clear themselves as the feed updates. But the GTNs were quite easy to fix. I've just added that rule now. So that is very simply the summary screen. So I'd like to go on to now is our own reporting for performance data and also looking at our own tracking. When someone has our tracking implemented, every sale that happens on the website, that comes through the website, we get a tracking call. This is a rundown of all the tracking calls that we've had just today. So this is the order ID, you've got the number of items in the basket, you've got how we've tracked it, also you've got the checkout type. So when this is other, it means that we haven't tracked it, it hasn't come from anything that we've tracked. This here is our raw data, and this is tracking individual conversions that are coming through them on the website. So we've got some fingerprint tracking set up. Sometimes we get duplicates where the sales is called twice or 3 or 4 times. So we mark them as duplicates and we exclude them from any reporting. This, in essence, is our own data we're picking up from the merchant's website. So if we're going to analyze conversions up here, this will give us all of the conversions that have happened in the last, however long it is, there's 50 on this page here. Let's go into an individual conversion here. This one happened on the 23rd, so it happened just now. As we click through, they click through on the 19th, exactly what I sent you before at the beginning. Google will report this on the 19th. We will report this in our system on the home screen as a sell from today. So these are our conversions that we are picking up and we are attributing to clicks that are coming from a different campaign. So you've got some shopping campaigns, you've got Pmax, you've got an organic sale here. So there's a couple of cool features with this. Number one, we know how many clicks that person's done before they made a purchase. As you can see, 14, 4, 9. So we can see them. We can see what they clicked on. This customer here clicked on the same shower tray. I think it looks almost the same shower tray over the last, what's that, 2 or 3 days now, and they made a purchase today, or yesterday even. So let's analyse some of the data we've got in here. This person clicked 5 times before making a purchase. They actually clicked 5 free clicks as part of that process. This person here clicked 14 times, they clicked 4 times, they clicked 4 times as well. What I can see within this, if I open it out and expand it out here, so we can see this person clicked on some shower trays. Obviously they're interested in a shower tray and they've been clicking for the last 4 or 5 days. These are all the clicks that have happened, and then I can see here they clicked on this item here. Did they actually buy it? They did actually buy that one. Interesting. What I can see is they clicked on this item here and actually went through and purchased it. And I can see the item SKUs are in here, and this is the price of the item, excluding VAT, and I also know what the profit is on that item as well. So that's how we work out the profit reports. This item here had a nice conversion. We've got a basket here, it's got 6 items in it. So if I click on that now and open it out, so they've clicked through on a Burlington shower valve, and they've also bought a plug, the valve itself. Is that the same one? Yep, same one. got a soap dish and dispenser. So they bought in total 6 items. So you can see 6 items, quantity 1, the price and the profit. So if I can see a history of lots of products that are getting sales but aren't necessarily getting traffic in Google, I can use our top products report to filter those out, put them into a campaign and give them a bit more visibility, because the people are buying them, it's just maybe Google isn't advertising them as much as we want. So that is where we can use some of the data. So if I go into that now and go into analyze basket level data, this is our basket reporting in here. And as you can see in here, we're working out direct conversions and also cross-sale conversions as well. The point of this really is that we can see how many people are actually buying what they click through on. So 71% is fairly high. It's probably around about average. It just shows that a lot of people are clicking through on things and not buying the product you think they're clicking on. Look at this here. We can look at the ad performance. We can look at items that were clicked and converted. You can look further down here about items that haven't been clicked that have converted as well. And this is what I was getting at in a minute ago. Let me just shrink myself because I don't need myself that big. Move me down there. Our best sellers report here. As you can see, a lot of these products are marked as top products already, but I want to filter out the products that I can add as top products. So by filtering this now by items that are unmarked, so going to, again, using a little filtering there, go to is false, which means they're not ticked. Filter, it's going to filter them. So I would quite like to add these as top products. So these 3 items here, certainly these 2 here, have had 2 conversions on the website that haven't come directly from our advertising. There is a potential they may have been included in a basket where someone's clicked through from an ad, but ultimately these items aren't being marked as top products at the moment. So I'm going to set them as top products. I'm going to set them as yes. They're done. So they're now marked as top products. So they will fall into our top products campaign now when the feed runs next. So another little feature we've got in our system as well is using all of this basket level data is we can look at what's going on the website. So let's have a look at the category conversions. Let's do brands first of all. So month to date. So if I order, these are all the brands they sell on the website. So if I just order this by all revenue, so by filtering this by Burlington, I can see now that our best seller or best selling brand is Burlington, then Eastbrook, then Ticino. These brands here overall have an overall cost of sale of under 10%. I'm looking at this here of the ads revenue. So ads revenue is 10, on site is 16, 17, 25, 47. So this is telling me that a lot of the sales that the site is seeing are primarily coming from ads. The main thing I'm looking for when I'm looking at this report is trying to find some discrepancies between what the site is reporting, or rather some opportunities of where we've got lots of sales coming through that aren't getting much visibility in Google, but there's not really a lot to look at in here. So that's showing me that we're doing a good enough job at the moment. So let's have a look at the category conversions as well. So we're using the same basket level data. So looking at this data here, it's just filtering the basket level data, which is basically all the sales on the website combined together into the categories that we've got in the feed. It's quite helpful to understand what's going on the website. So if you're looking for any discrepancies where there might be products that have literally no conversions at all coming on ads, but they're selling a lot, for argument's sake, we might have by mistake or by design removed all the baths out of the feed or removed all the campaigns for baths, I'm going to very quickly realise that all ads revenue is, for argument's sake, is £2,000, on site has done 29. That's shown me there's a big opportunity there to push those baths. So let's go and have a look at some additional data in here as well. So we can look at our health report. So the health report is giving me a context of actually what's going on in terms of the feed itself. So the month to date, we've had 401 sales, 15 of those items are actually out of stock. So it's quite a low out of stock rate. So I'm quite happy with that. That's nothing that I need to worry about. It's showing you a bit more competitive information in here, showing you some unprofitable products that we've got in the feed. And these are our profitable items in here. So again, some of these items have probably had very little clicks. So it's a bit of a health report really. It's showing, also got the opportunities in here. It's showing you this has had no impressions in the last 7 days and no sales in the last 7 days. So this item here, over the last 90 days, used to be a really strong seller. I would say there's a good chance this product is now out of stock, as are all these items in here. So there's the Pmax products with less than 50 impressions. At the moment, what this is telling me, 80% of the products that we have in the feed over the last 90 days have had less than 50 impressions. So that's quite a high number, which means that a lot of the products that are going to Google are just basically not being found. So the rest of the reporting here is just showing you what's improved and what's got worse over the last 7 versus 90 days. It shows you a bit more about the assets as well in here, but overall there's a lot of information in here. The next part I want to go through is our customer summary report, which is this here. So the customer summary report is giving us the lifetime value and the repeat rate of customers based on the tracking information we're getting in through the feed. It's quite common in e-commerce, so people are really focusing on new customer acquisition. It's particularly helpful for more established e-commerce brands because the lifeblood is very much attracting new business. This calculates a lot of this for us. For this merchant specifically, we've had 179 customers this month, 179 new customers this month. It's cost us only £3.75 to generate that new customer. Of that, that's basically 94% of the customers that are coming through and buying from these guys are new customers. So that gives us a repeat rate of 180 orders over 179 customers. So one person's come back and bought something else. Over the lifetime, that's 3% of customers. Again, we haven't got a huge amount of data for this client, so only goes back probably 4 or 5 months. So as time goes on, you'll see more and more repeat customers coming through, and potentially the new customer rate will decrease, and also the lifetime value will increase as well. So these are the repeat customers. So this gives me a bit more information about the customers themselves, how often they come back and repeat. So these are the products that are actually generating new customers. What actually generates the most new customers by product? So as you can see, 43 new customers have come from this truck basket, and then you've got some Apple storage trays and things like that. And then the most common repeat purchase product all time is a rainwater dam pipe. So yeah, that is our customer summary report, something that a lot of customers are really, really hot on. That's our customer reporting. Now we've covered a lot of the basket level and more kind of Onefeed conversion data. Let's look at the Pmax reporting itself. So let's look at our Pmax reporting. Go into reports, Pmax report over here. This gives us a breakdown of campaign name, clicks, the usual stuff, what the cost of sale is, the revenue. I quite like these the breakdown reports here. So this is showing us a breakdown of where we're spending our money. So this shower trays campaign here, we're spending £1,000 on shopping. So this breakdown report gives us a bit of information about how the spend is split across the campaigns themselves. We don't really do much, as you can see, beyond shopping. So if you look at revenue, it's all good impressions. So it's really easy to waste money on them. So I very much am not a big advocate of doing all of the elements of Pmax. Again, it depends on the merchant. Some merchants do quite well with it, but you have to be quite an established customer and have some really good assets. And quite a lot of fairly medium-sized businesses don't have the assets to be able to, go really heavy on all the Pmax element. This is just giving you a bit of a graph. We've got a breakdown chart as well here, which shows you the performance by video versus shopping versus search. But again, it gives you the graph and it shows you, where you get spikes. As you can see, there's a slight spike middle of in the last couple of weeks where display has decided to pick up a little bit. Again, it's just a helpful report just to give you a bit more information about what the spark lines look like and whether you've got suddenly just a big divergence between shopping has come right down and search has shot up. That's usually a good indicator of dramatic overspend, quite honestly. That's how I would perceive that. So that's the overall performance of the campaigns themselves. We can actually look at the individual product level reports as well. Let's filter that through there. So let's just do, it doesn't really matter. Let's just run a report. So as you can see here, you can see on the graph down here, it just graphs that gives you a bit of visibility of what each individual item is doing. As you can see here, we've got nice wiggly lines. You can take things off, you can add them back in. You isolate just one part of this though. You've got the clicks and you've got the cost. You get clicks and cost together. And up here you can change the metrics you're working on. So conversion rate, it's not really going to give us much there. Click-through rate. So we'll just do clicks. Let's change clicks. So it's doing cost to impressions. There we go. So we've got our impressions versus click-through rate. Let me move that over there. Just a useful feature, just giving a bit of visibility into what's going on. For argument's sake, a product suddenly has just exploded and you're not quite sure what's happened. Prime example here, the click-through rate all of a sudden has just absolutely ballooned. which is amazing, but at the same point, it's good to see. Click-through rate was quite low down here. What's that? Around 3%. Suddenly it's just ballooned up to 14%. So yeah, it's just a really good visible way of understanding what's going on at the product level within the Pmax campaigns themselves. So let's look at shopping itself as well now. Let's go into shopping. So these are our shopping campaigns, as we kind of touched on the other day. As you can see, there's bidding strategies implemented at the moment. You can see that they are named by what the actual cost of sale metrics are. So this is quite a complicated setup, as you can see, but we've got a lot of filtering and a lot of different campaigns that dovetail together, and you've got the rules that are actually pushing products in and out of these different campaigns. But as you can see here, we've got, again, the graph. You can see the cost, the revenue. We've got the cost of sale as well. So you can add all these bits into your graph and understand what's going on, and obviously look at each individual campaign separately. Let's look at the product level report as well. So this is the shopping report here. We're going to go into here. We're going to look at, let's just look at our best sellers. Let's look at the month to date. So it's going to download all the data now into this report for us. There's 330 items. So we can look at individual products, so you can see the graph of how they're performing, when the sales were happening, what the click-through rate and everything else is. You've got a myriad of different functions or different data points you can add to the graph. So this here gives us a graphical view of individual items. As you can see in the bottom here, we've got impressions against clicks versus revenue. Again, as we did before, we can add and remove different elements from the graph. So this item here has a bit of a slowdown in terms of impressions recently, but again, this is all every item you can run for every campaign from the shopping campaigns. So I've got 4 more really interesting reports I want to show you now. Let's do our campaign overview. So at the moment I can select a specific campaign from up here, or I can just leave it on all campaigns. As you can see, this is a bit of a spider view, and it gives you a bit of detail of what's changed this month. So obviously reds have gone down, greens have gone up. So conversion's gone up by 30%. Conversion rate's gone down because last month actually we had a very high conversion rate because we weren't very active last month. Revenue's gone up by 70%. Clicks have gone up by 121%. So it's just really showing you all of the data in terms of how the campaigns are performing. You can look at individual campaign-specific data, but I prefer just to look at the overall performance and then go into individual campaigns themselves. It's really helpful just to see a broader spectrum of all the data points that contribute to how your campaigns are performing. So it's a bit of a spider, I call it the spider view, but it's probably got a more technical name for it. We just call it the campaign overview. So that's our campaign overview page. That's in Optimize Reports Campaign Overview. So let's go and look at our Ngram report as well, when we were talking about shopping before. So this report here shows us individual keywords by mono, buy, try and quad. Let's do the diagram. So if I wanted to do this by campaign, let's just do best sellers. So I can see now on our best sellers report, I've added iron fireplace around and Roper roads as specific exact match keyword negatives. So if I want to do that, I can add these as phrase match, as a negative match on exact match, or add them as broad match. These are all exact match negatives. And this is going to aggregate all of these keywords for me in these reports to show me exactly what keywords are worth removing. The point of this report is trying to find trends and trying to find opportunities for obvious overspend and things that quite clearly need to be negativized. So the trigram tends to be the best place to start. So I also have another report in here, which is our custom label report, which is quite a new report here. And the purpose of the custom label report is actually aggregating everything across all the campaigns by the custom labels though. So we've got, as you can see here, you've got all the products that we've got in custom label 0, which is our own classification of products. Custom label 1, which is using the benchmark data. So looking at this here, lots of products for this merchant sit in NA, which basically we don't have a benchmark price for them, which is a bit frustrating. So there's probably at least 90% of the sales come through on the NA. So what I do quite like looking at is looking at when products are not competitive, so the benchmark price is actually lower than our price. That is quite an anomaly here though. So actually our best cost of sale and our best performance actually comes on items that aren't competitive according to this. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Customer label 2 would be our best sellers and non-best sellers, so zeros and ones. So one's best seller, zeros non-best seller. So we do get a lot of sales actually on our non-best sellers in this report here. Again, this is just a month to date, so it's quite a small snapshot. Custom label 3, we've got custom labels using our filtering using the rules. So when we covered that in video number 2, and video number 2 we were adding performance data into the feed using custom labels though, so we've got things like not set, poor performance, so anything that we think is not performing very well, we put that into a separate campaign. As you can see here, the cost of sale is actually really good, so the poor performance items are actually, because they've got a much lower cost of sale target than the other campaigns, it means they're performing actually quite well. So what will end up happening is these products will eventually move out of poor performance and go into probably the Pmax filtering here. So that's just an example of how we're using our custom labels, and custom label 4 is just showing us some additional keywords that we are adding into the feeds to separate them out within the individual campaigns. The custom label report is really helpful for doing lots of this. So the final report I want to cover is actually on our home screen, which is the latest AI-driven report that we've generated over in here. So this is our threats and opportunities. So this powered by AI gives us, I'll wait for it to load, it's giving us an AI overview of all the campaigns across Bing and shopping, and giving us a bit of breakdown of what's good, what's bad, what we need to worry about, what we need to look at, what's worth optimizing. And then beyond that, we've got 2 columns underneath this, which is our 30-day analysis. Let's just scroll down a little bit further. So let's go to our best sellers and best sellers here. So 7-day analysis on the left-hand side, 30-day analysis on the right-hand side. And within each campaign, as you can see, this is our best sellers, low impressions, so items that are getting very little impression volume in Google. So we put them in a separate campaign and optimizing them accordingly. So our AI analysis is finished up the top here. So it's giving us a bit of a breakdown of, bit of a summary of what's going on. It's showing us what's good, what's doing well, what needs attention. So the ROAS is dropping on some of these. We need to look at them. Some keyword group analysis is basically looking at where the ROAS is very low compared to what our target is for some of these. Also looking at high traffic, low conversions, and some critical issues here as well. So looking at individual product level information about what's performing, what isn't performing, and then also looking at some opportunities as well of things. So there's a bit of a mixture of different bits of information here, but I quite like looking through the actual 30-day analysis here. So if I go through this campaign here itself, so it's doing quite well. So our conversion rate is 1.6, cost of sale is around about where we need it to be. It's pointing out in here that the casino bathrooms, that increment within the way we are structuring the campaign, it's below our target, it's not doing very well. Likewise, the shower trays isn't performing very well, so that's something we need to look at. So it gives you a bit more of an overview. We're going to add to this in due course, but as you can see, every campaign has its own overview of greens and reds. There's lots and lots of data in here to work through. It gives you a bit more of a snapshot of what's going on within each individual campaign. It gives you some action point example here, the campaign performance, the ROAS is under our target. That's giving us details of some of the brands in there that aren't doing very well. So Abode is not doing very well. The revenue's dropped. So yeah, that is our threats and opportunities, which we're going to be improving and adding to in due course. It's going to be using more data points to optimize against and to give us some information of what's going on. So the final part of what we've got in the system is an AI generator for optimizing product titles in the Analyze A/B testing. This allows us to product title test. Let's do shower trays. One of our best sellers. Let's go shower trays. So here's our shower trays in here. So let's just pull that back over here. So let's try and optimize some of the items that are performing quite well, that are spending quite a lot of money. So let's just optimize these 3 here. So what we can do now is I can add some additional product titles that are generated by the AI. I'm going to click on that now, and that's going to add 3 additional product titles to go with our existing product title. The generation itself scans the product information on the landing page itself. It allows us to build a much stronger and more varied product title which we can use. So here's an example here. This is the original, and these are the 3 AI generated ones. As you can see, it's AI generated. So we've got now 4 product titles. All these 3 product titles now could be rotated in the campaign itself. So let's go ahead and just set that up. So I can click on my little person icon up here, go to my name here. I'm going to go to analysis. I'm going to click on rotate product titles every. I'm going to change that to 7 days. Settings are saved. So this is now going to rotate through all of these different product titles across all these items in here every 7 days, and I'll be able to see the product level performance of each individual title that we've generated, and then we can pick out which one has the best impression volume or best click-through rate or the best conversion rate. And so really it's just a case of rotating between them. So as you can see in here, this is our original one. So you've got the dimensions at the beginning. You've got the white slate effect, which again is sharing the same white slate finish. They're all very slightly different. Slip resistance, you could anti-slip shower trays, for argument's sake, could be something that people use to search for it. This obviously doesn't have anti-slip in the product title at the moment. So ultimately we are adding additional information into the product title, which we can rotate between and just pick out the best one. And then if we wanted to, we can turn them off. So let me just refresh the page because the changes haven't applied just yet. There we go. So that's done. So these are all now as active. So if I didn't want to use one of them and I didn't like one of them, and let's say for example I didn't like the original one, I was going to deactivate it and turn it off. So that means that when we do the rotation, it's not actually going to use this product title in the rotation of product title. So I'm going to activate it again. They're all active and they're all going to be pushed into the product feed on the next update. So each one of these product titles is going to be changed every 7 days, and over the course of the next 28 days we're going to see which one perhaps has the best click-through rate or the best order revenue. There's lots of data in here that we could use to decide what we want to do, but ultimately a lot of these product titles have now a few variants and a few more simple keywords added into the product title, which is better than what we had originally. So those items there are going to be rotated, and if we wanted to turn the rotation off, we go back into our person again, go to analysis, rotate every 7 days. We can just basically turn it off there and turn it into don't rotate. That's that. Let's get rid of that one there. Okay, so that now is our AI generated product titles though. So if you wanted to do that for all your products, you just obviously open that out. Again, it will take a little while to generate, but if you do 100, let's say that's now got all 100 listed. Let's just do that. Go there, click on AI title generation, and in the next 5-10 minutes it will add up all those 3 different variant product titles into every single item in here. And the beauty of this as well is that I can now filter just on products that have an A/B testing product title. And likewise as well, if you wanted to, you could add your own product title. So I'm going to select that one there. I'm going to go add title. I quite like the low profile because that's certainly a keyword that people use. Low profile, apex, slate effect shower tray, textured, slip resistant. I'm going to get that and. So that now, low profile is at the beginning. I'm going to save that. And that's the original one. And that's the one I've just optimized personally myself. So again, if you wanted to, you could go in and add a whole bunch of manual keywords as well if you wanted to into those product titles. So the beauty really is that we can now view how these products are going to perform against each other over the next 28 days, or like this one here, it's going to take 35 days for all 5 product titles to be shown. So that's the A/B testing part of this. So the final part of the system I want to show you is our item group ID filtering. And the clever part of this is more relevant to people that sell lots of variations of the same product, for argument's sake, clothing items. Imagine you're a retailer and you've got 7 different sizes of a dress, and generally what will happen is you'll sell out of the middle size. You think about the bell curve, those middle sizes sell out almost immediately, and then what you'll end up with is potentially the extremities, like the extra small and the extra large and the extra large. So really you might have 4 out of the 7 sizes still remaining in the feed potentially. Let's say there's 3. If you've got 3 out of the 7, it was more likely, thinking about the bell curve, more likely people won't be able to have the size they want when they click through, which means you're wasting a click, the conversion rate's going to drop on those products, you end up wasting money. And so what we've integrated into the system here is a facility to be able to exclude the groups of products when they drop below a certain level. So if you think about an item group ID, that's how you group your clothing items together. You'll have different size variants of an item. So let's think about this logically. If we've got an item that sits in item group ID, there were 7 sizes originally when that first came into our feed. Over the course of, let's say, a week, The middle sizes have all sold out. So what you're left with is something like 3 out of 7 that's still left. Generally speaking, anything that drops below kind of 35% of the item group values that are left, generally speaking, your conversion rate is going to drop quite significantly, because people aren't clicking through on the products that actually they want to buy. You know, they might well be just looking for a dress. You might be advertising it as saying it's a small, but most people won't be able to see the very end, potentially where the size is actually sitting at the end of the product title. They like the product, the image, they click through, they get disappointed because they're a medium and you can't buy the product. So what we can do is we can filter the feed by adding an exclusion. So I could put in here 35%. Oops, 0.35 even. There we go. If an item group ID percentage drops below 35%, so let's use a real simple maths. If there's 10 variants in an item group ID, let's think about some dresses or jeans, whatever it might be. Once you've only got 3 of those items left in terms of the size variance, then what's going to happen is we're going to set this to not include those products in the feed. So there's a few ways we can go about optimizing this, but to make this more simple for the example here, what the feed will do is it will exclude those products from the feed once you drop below a certain threshold. And so those 3 items or 3 size variants that are going to go into the feed, they will have a mark on the system to not import those products. It's going to stop you advertising products that are going into the feed in potentially quite a high spending campaign, when realistically the chances of making a conversion are quite small. So thanks for watching. That concludes everything I wanted to show you today. If you've got any questions or anything, certainly reach out, but thanks very much.